Welcome to Janet being Janet. Okay, so I was moseying myself on over to Miss Kitey's channel, and I ran across a video that she did about sister wives, and I got a little chuckle in the beginning. No, I don't know what this is about, but me and you are going to figure it out together, okay? So, let's do this.
Hi, friends. Besties, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball.
No, ma'am. It don't work like that. No. Over here, we're friends. Remember, we're only besties over on Blake's videos.
There's this old saying, I grew up hearing it. I don't know if you've heard it, but I heard this a lot growing up. And the saying went, you don't know what you don't know.
Miss Kitey, there's a lot that you don't know, especially about how to be a decent human being.
Meaning, there's a lot in life that you might not know about, right? And if you don't know about what that is, you don't know. Like, you're ignorant, right?
You got it yet? If you don't know what you don't know about, then how do you know about that? That was my chuckle.
So if you are growing up in an environment like you're in a cult, and you're taught from the very young age that all women are supposed to share a husband, and it's just this normal way of living.
Tell us about your normal way of living, Miss Kitey. We're kind of interested in that. What's your day-to-day like?
Where you just see women all vying for the attention of one man, and you're told from a very young age that this is how you're supposed to live your life, and this is what you're supposed to do because this is going to get you to heaven.
Hey, we don't talk about that on your channel. No, that one's off limits. You say that yourself.
It's going to allow you to be with your family in heaven. You'll become a god or a goddess in heaven in your celestial kingdom. And it's, the way that you can live the fullness of the gospel.
Hey, stand strong in what you say, Miss Kitey. Don't be tripping over your own words. Don't do you no good on here.
Right? We've all had things in our lives where you don't know what you don't know. And some of us...
I don't know why that's funny. You don't know what you don't know. It's kind of like when you need a big sign that says, duh.
The what we don't know is way more severe than what we don't know, right?
She's waiting for somebody to agree. She's like, okay, somebody understand me. Come on, guys. Y'all got to help me out here. Ain't nobody going to help her.
I grew up in a home where it was super normal to get a whap or hit, by a parent for discipline.
Are you trying to blame your personality on that? Not a good excuse.
I didn't know until I became an adult and met people my own age that didn't grow up that way, that it wasn't normal. I didn't realize that what I went through as a kid wasn't the same as other kids, because to me, it was what was normal in my house.
I was going to say, we got to repeat the same words over and over, or this wouldn't be a Miss Kitey video.
I didn't know it was abnormal to not, or that there was a different way of discipline. I had no clue.
That's because you probably didn't even leave your house as a child. Teenager. Oh, wait, you kind of got yourself in trouble a couple of times. What am I talking about?
And so when I became aware of what I didn't know, I wanted to learn everything about the right way to parent without doing what I went through, because growing up that way, it was very hard.
In your eyes, it was very hard. Maybe only in your eyes. I ain't gonna pass my judgment on this, but I know how I was raised.
And some people, they say, it's fine and all kids need a good whatever. And I don't agree, because what I went through, I wouldn't wish on anyone.
So you're trying to say that your parents were way too hard on you? That your parents kept you in line? That you got a whap, as you say, or a whack, as you say, when you stepped out of line? How often did that happen, Miss Kitey?
And I didn't realize until I became an adult and then a parent that you don't have to do that.
My opinion, and this is only my opinion, this is for entertainment purposes and only entertainment purposes, but I think Todd does most of the raising. I think you're just there when you have to be.
Right? And then I remember this very big moment in my life, and it was after I became a mother.
We ain't gonna say anything about that. No, y'all. I got a comment section, because I already know what y'all are thinking.
And I remember, I'm never going to lay a hand on my kid.
Well, thank you for sharing your parenting strategies with us. We all needed to hear that one today.
My kid will be able to experience life the way I wish I would have been able to experience my life as a child, where I wasn't afraid of one of my parents.
Hey, you, guess what? Guess what? When you were younger, you were able to leave the house and go do things now, weren't you? I guess you ain't doing things the same way your parents
Or
did.
I didn't fear what was coming next, right? Or I wasn't hiding to get away from them.
Why do you keep saying right? You can say right 100,000 times and it doesn't mean everybody's going to agree with you. Everybody has their own daggum opinion. Quit saying right.
Scared, terrorized, out of my mind. And I remember thinking, wow, I get to break that cycle.
Hey, did you just break one cycle? Are you breaking another one? How often do you leave your house, Miss Katie? How often do you leave? Oh, we ain't gonna say your corner store now, are we?
Because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I don't love the idea of your parents just do the best they can because they could have known, right? They could have learned.
Hey, kids don't come with a daggum training manual. You gotta learn that by yourself. Everybody knows that, and everybody raises their children differently. You can't be sitting here saying nothing, Miss Katie.
Right? So I think of that in my aha moment. That was a huge awakening for me.
I was watching your channel for a while before I got my huge awakening to the type of person you really are.
It changed my entire life. It changed my relationships. It changed my worldview. It changed the dynamics within my family. It really changed me when I realized that I didn't have to accept that anymore.
Was it a slow day for you? Kinda. Did this day not give you any kind of juicy to report on? So we gotta listen to your childhood? All right, keep going.
And I wasn't going to do that to my child. And I remember just thinking, you don't know what you don't know.
She so does not know how to explain you don't know what you don't know. It's kinda, I'm serious. Every time I listen to Miss Katie, I need a duh sign.
Okay. So I share that to say, Christine Brown Woolley, who's in her early 50s now.
Woman, you don't like saying your age. You can't stand it when somebody brings up your age, so leave Christine alone.
Is sort of at that place, but it's about things that you and I knew the whole time we were watching the show was wrong. And we saw it firsthand what was happening.
So you're trying to say that even though you were watching the show, you didn't know what you didn't know. Sorry, I told you, I crackle.
That for years she denied. And she denied it because she didn't know what she didn't know.
If y'all ain't done hearing this and y'all ain't tired of hearing this, there's something wrong with you.
She hadn't experienced anything outside of the world of polygamy. She didn't realize that the worldview that she held of how women and men's relationships are.
You gonna tell us how to have a relationship with people, Miss Katie? Are you gonna tell us the best way to do that? Hey, I'm all ears, because you know what? Obviously, I need to learn something with the many times you're saying it over and over.
And the way that men are valued over women, and that women must worship their men, and that men can do whatever they want.
Hey, when you work all the time and you're in your office all the time, you're doing research all the time, all this is happening all the time, it kind of does sound like your man can do whatever he wants.
And a woman's job is to serve and accept whatever their husband gives them and see them every fourth day, maybe.
Oh, so now we're on to Christine. Oh, I thought we were still talking about your personal life.
And when they do show up, your whole life has to revolve around that person because you haven't seen them in 4 days and they need to see you, they need to see their kids. And for years, she would always say things like, our marriage is no different than a monogamous marriage.
And that's where the point comes in. If you don't know what you don't know, I give.
Or we have the same problems, just multiply it times 4. And I would always think no, because most monogamous marriages don't have to worry about the dad splitting his time between multiple families.
No, they just got to worry about as a parent, you spend enough time with your kids. That's what you really got to worry about.
That's just something that's not in monogamy, period. So now she's sitting down with Suki and she's admitting things about what she went through in her life, right?
Y'all are following along, right? You are? You're on the same subject as me, right?
And for some people, when they carry their generational trauma from their childhood to their adulthood.
Hey, you got a mirror? Are you looking in it yet? Because if not, go find one.
And then they repeat the patterns of the generations before them. When they break the cycle, it can feel really embarrassing because how is it that I couldn't see this? How did I get swept up in this? How did I not know?
Well, this is where Miss Kitey's phrase comes into play. She's just trying to pass that on from her to Miss Christine, but I don't know if Christine even cares or wants to pay attention to her.
But like I said, you don't know what you don't know.
Like you said many times before, and like it's happened is I laugh at you.
And so Christine talks for the first time about she's embarrassed that she lived her life as a polygamist.
Miss Kitey, if I spent as much time researching as you, I would be embarrassed too, because there's certain things you get wrong.
Embarrassed. Check it out.
So it was like, even when he wasn't there, I'd be thinking, whenever he gets here, we're going to do this and this and this. Because he didn't just insert into my life. He didn't just do whatever we were doing. We had to change what we were doing to accommodate him.
Hate to tell you this, I really do. If I'm going to put my life into this situation, there are times I have to do what my husband wants me to do. And there are times where he has to do what I want him to do. And it's a trade-off like that, and I ain't defending nobody in this situation. I'm telling you something about me.
Right. And that's not okay. That's not fair.
If you have a house that you're running on your own, and every fourth day the guy that fathered your children shows up after he's been...
Or after a very long work day, Miss Kitey, you show up and then you're supposed to be the boss? Is that the way it goes?
Traipsing around and poking his pencil in other people's holes.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. What you been talking about over there? Well, sister wives, what kind of audience do you have? There's something wrong, Miss Katie.
For 3 days. And then he shows up in your house and then demands that you conform to him and do what he wants.
Are you the kind of person that demands people do what you want them to do, and if they don't, you strike them, or you dox them, or you find a way to get at them? No, not Miss Katie.
That's not an equal relationship. And it's not a man that's invested or cares about you, because a real partner wouldn't be doing what Cody was doing.
A real partner would be 50-50, sometimes 60-40. It just depends on what your job is and what your day-to-day is. Miss Katie, come on now. You can't compare yourself to no one else.
By having sex with all these other women, fathering children that he didn't raise, and fathering more children that he could parent or even love.
I'm going to leave that one alone. I need to leave that one alone because that's for my mind and my mouth only.
And viewing his children as numbers and not as humans.
Or as a disability and not as a human.
And devaluing them and devaluing the women and making them compete. He has no value for the women. He doesn't care. He said this season he got all of his validation in life because his kids worshipped the ground he walked on.
I'm thinking more and more, maybe I don't need to do this video. But then again, I'm laughing at it. I don't know if you're laughing at it, but I know y'all are about to hit my comment section and tell me stuff that I don't know about her.
His wives worshipped the ground he walked on. He was the God. He was the number one. He was the most important, and he didn't have to do anything.
Besides, certain parents have to stay inside and they have to work all hours of the day and the night, and they have to work instead of being there with their kids, and they have to work. Y'all know what I mean.
At all to change, because they were all indoctrinated to accept that. I know that Cody is a narcissist.
Thanks one to no one. But then again, I'm talking about you, so I guess there's a little bit of narcissism in me. There probably is.
But hear me out. The culture that they come from creates narcissistic men.
And the people that cover them, sometimes it makes them narcissists as well. They just won't admit it.
Because the men from birth and all the way into their adulthood are taught that they are superior to women. They are taught in their relationships that it is not their responsibility to love their wives more.
Are we talking about Cody now? I think you're talking about Cody, and I'm kind of talking about you. So there's something wrong. No, there's not.
It's their wives' responsibility to love their husbands more, and then their husband will love them.
50-50 tug of war. That's the way it's gotta go.
It's their wives' responsibility to be better, to keep sweeter, to not make a fuss.
Good thing you weren't raised in that kind of religion, huh, Miss Katie? Because that don't fit nothing your personality goes into.
You know, to this day, Mary makes comments like you can only control yourself, which is true.
Is there a big butt besides the one that's behind people?
You can only control yourself, but it's also not true that you should have to change who you are and be something you're not in order for him to love you.
But I thought they didn't know what they don't know. So if they don't know what they don't know, how do they know any different?
And really, when Mary would say you need to work on yourself, it always felt like you just need to change who you are.
Mirror time, mirror time. Hey, if you've been with me for a while, you understand why I'm saying that.
So that he loves you more. And that's really unhealthy. So when I hear her say what she's talking about, how it's unfair, it makes me think of maybe she's getting counseling.
What's wrong with that? Are you trying to say there's something wrong with that? Counseling helps a lot of people, Miss Katie. You better keep your opinions to yourself because you need to on this one.
Honestly, she sounds like someone that's going through therapy.
Miss Katie, I got a question. What do people going through therapy look like? I want a description. I want to know because I'm just curious.
And learning about healthy dynamics in relationships. And she probably has a new relationship to compare it to. And she's like, holy crap, I have no idea how I did this for so long.
Sometimes I don't know how in the world I've covered you for so long. Covered, yeah, I don't like saying that word, but it's kind of stuck with me thanks to her. But I don't know sometimes why I covered you so much because some of the things that you do are shiesty.
That's making it so our lives are focused on him.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating to me, and it's embarrassing that I lived it.
Yes, Miss Christine, you use your own words. Don't you pay attention to Miss without a crystal ball. Sorry, with a crystal ball.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you feel that he didn't respect you?
I don't know if he would feel like he would need to. I don't know. Maybe in some roles, maybe in some ways he did.
Don't lie to yourself. When there's no respect, you can tell there's no respect.
She's embarrassed that she lived that way. She's embarrassed that her whole life she revolved around one person and invested their whole everything into that person.
Once again, I should not be saying anything on here, but I know y'all are going to get down in that comment section and y'all are going to have some fun with that one. I like reading them all. Because, Miss Katie, you need to get in my comments sometimes. You want to know something about yourself? They'll tell you.
Changed her entire life when he was around her, did everything in her power to please him, constantly bent over backwards for him, and when he was in her home, treated him like a king.
My husband tries to treat me as a queen. It just so happens I'm too daggum stubborn.
You know, special foods, special plates, special time. You know what McKelty has said? When he would spend time with his kids, he would sit down and he would put a movie on that he liked.
Cody is selfish. Completely selfish. All about himself. Can't think of anybody else. Why would he whenever he's got women trying to, kneel down to him? Are you talking about yourself, Miss Katie?
And then the kids, if they wanted to spend time with him and engage with him, they just basically had to do whatever he wanted to do. So she talks about these old Gladiator being one of them, but.
Would you spit it out? You don't edit. I edit. You ought to see my bloopers. I edit all the time because I have to, because I talk too much. But don't trip over your words unless you're going to go over there and you're going to go in and use your software for something like making sure you sound a little bit more professional.
These like Roman period films that they would watch, and then these like movies about wizards and dragons. I don't know. And he was very into these movies, and that the only way that they would spend time together is if you wanted to sit down and for the millionth time watch the same movie.
Would you quit drawing things out? All I gotta say is, hey, They're trying to force his kids to watch the same movie while he sat there on his butt and they sat there on their butt and they stared at a TV screen together. That's their quality time. See, I did that a lot faster than Miss Katie did.
With your dad, and that he didn't invest his time or energy in caring about what they liked.
Just give them the iPad and just let the iPad take care of them, huh?
Or what they were interested in. He didn't go to events for his daughters, or, for the boys, he would go to their wrestling events and get them into sport.
You gotta be willing to enroll your kid in stuff like that in order to take your kid to something like that. So most likely mamas were taking care of that. Mamas was doing it all. Janet, shut up.
But even then, it's only half-assed because he's got so many kids, right? And if he doesn't take an interest in what the kids like, the kids are learning from a young age.
Kind of like you don't know what you don't know.
That the way that they please their father is basically just doing whatever he says. And that to be close to him, you just have to do whatever he wants.
Or sit down and watch a video with them. You know what? Some parents just suck.
And then because of the structure of this cult and their belief that he's the priesthood authority, he's treated like a god in their household.
Isn't that the way their religion works? Ain't that the way their religion goes? What am I missing here, Miss Katie?
Because everything he says is close to God. Imagine having a husband that you're, on the one hand, is your husband, and then on the other hand, it's like you worship your husband. It's so... They would always say that they were not like Warren Jeffs.
I ain't getting into talking about that person, but you know what? Sometimes I'm told that people worship the ground that I walk on. You want to know why? They love me that much.
But it's so Warren Jeffs. It's just, they got to wear clothing that wasn't as oppressive, right? They didn't have to wear their prairie dresses.
What's the point in this? Is it about Christine? Is it about religion? Is it about Miss Katie? What exactly is the point of this? See, when she starts posting videos like this, that's when I start questioning her. It must have been a slow work day.
But the belief system was identical. You just keep sweet. And if he wants you to come and do something with him, you got to go come and do something with him. And if he wants to get you pregnant, he's going to go get you pregnant. And
I can't argue with that one. Anything to do with Cody, I don't know. This isn't even about Cody. This is about Miss Katie.
If he comes over, it's going to be how he wants it.
Are you trying to tell me you don't make things the way you want them? You don't got to have everything your way? You don't have to have everybody see your way of thinking? Okay.
And you better not complain. So for her now to say she's embarrassed, I'm sure a lot of what she's going through is shame.
You're sure it's shame? Are you positive? Is it an absolute fact or is it an opinion? Because you don't like to tend to say those words.
Shame. But you don't have to feel shame for what you didn't know.
Because you didn't know what you don't know.
And you shouldn't have to feel shame for how someone else treated you.
And Miss Katie has no shame. We all know this.
I always like to think of it in the way of, instead of feeling ashamed, ask yourself, why was it okay for him to treat you that way?
Why is it okay for you to treat certain people a certain way, and then when people say, no, ma'am, you get upset? Miss Katie.
Why is it that he abused? Why is it that he was okay abusing? What made it okay in his heart to even embrace a faith that would do this to a woman?
What makes you think it's okay to get on your channel and say all these certain words? I tell you something, I try my best to edit these things out because I don't want them on my channel, because I know there's parents that watch my videos with their kiddos in the room and it's only the right thing to do. Miss Katie.
Cody grew up in the LDS church, which I understand has many of the same beliefs at their core, but they don't practice polygamy.
So this was something Cody and his wives chose to take on. It was a choice. Doesn't mean if it's a bad choice, it's not a choice. It's still a choice.
And because of that, he knew better. He knew that you don't marry multiple women.
There's a lot of things we think you know better to do, but you do it anyways.
You don't put women through that. You don't break women's hearts in order to bring in someone new.
Hey, if somebody came across with some ching, some bigger ching than you, what would you do?
And you don't expect your wives to just like bow down and accept it, because I always think of it if he knew better that polygamy was wrong, because that's how he was raised that it was wrong.
Thank you for clearing that up for me, because that was something I didn't know, that he was raised wrong. But I think you're saying that you were raised wrong too. I do believe that's what you've been saying. I could be off topic, but that's what I think.
And then his parents converted, which is a whole nother story. But if he knew that it was wrong, and he knew that it was wrong to hurt women that way, then he had a choice not to do it. And many of his siblings that were not raised that way, because Cody did not grow up in polygamy.
Reassure everyone over and over that they know and they hear what you're saying. You just keep repeating yourself.
He was an adult when his parents converted. He has siblings that did not convert with his parents that are adults.
I have siblings that don't see things the way I see them, do what I say that they should do or I should do myself, leading by example. So yeah, siblings are kind of off limits, huh?
That did not follow that lifestyle, that were not raised in polygamy, that are not polygamists, that rejected it because they knew better.
How do you know so much about Cody's family? How do you know that? How do you know about his siblings? How do you know what they do and how they are and who they are? Because that's kind of frightening if you do.
He made a choice to do that, and he went that route because he wanted the validation of being worshipped and having the opportunity to sleep with as many women as he wanted.
You want the validation from your audience that you know absolutely everything on the subject you're talking about, when in all actuality you don't.
And if a man really loved a woman, he would never be a part of a religion where loving her causes pain.
Woo! Sometimes I feel for somebody else that maybe I shouldn't feel for, but you probably put two and two together, because Miss Katie does work a lot.
It's just so cruel. And I'm glad to see these aha moments for Christine. I just hope she knows that it's not her fault that he treated her that way.
But you live by your past, right? And you were raised in your past, and so you hold on to your past, and that's what making you bitter Betty.
And I hope she doesn't swing so far to the pendulum. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you are coming out of something, you have this tendency to swing all the way to the other side, because you're like, oh, my mom wouldn't let me eat sugar cereal, so now all I'm going to do is eat candy.
That's a good comparison to being married to multiple wives and them having to share a husband. Just compare it to candy.
Or I didn't get to have sweets when I was a kid. Now all I'm going to do is eat junk food, right? Like Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. That was how I grew up too. So you have the tendency to swing all the other way to overcorrect.
Don't you like when she includes a little bit about her personal life and what she went through and what she had going on when she was little, and maybe it explains a little bit of how she is who she is? Huh.
And so I hope she doesn't overcorrect and then become so independent, that she doesn't let him in, her husband. But I think she's learning how to do that.
And I think her husband is just fine. And you said here recently you think he's a good person too. So you need to leave him alone.
But she's never really had a partner until now. What a sad way to live.
What a sad way to live when you don't walk outside your house and end up touching grass all day and just making a picnic in your front yard and saying hi to your neighbors and becoming friends. Because from what I understand from you, your neighbors have an issue.
She was embarrassed, you guys. Think of being in your 50s.
Quit bringing up age. Stop it. Stop it. You don't want nobody to bring up your age. You don't like it, so you leave Christine alone.
And getting to a point where you're like, I'm so embarrassed. My life revolved around one guy, and I did all these things because I always said I was a strong woman.
I'm a strong woman, but my life revolves around my kids. I tell you that right now. They need something, I'm there. I'm not on camera. I'm not doing anything for YouTube. I'm with them. Yeah, a choice I made.
And I can't believe I was okay with a husband that slept with other women. And I was okay with that? What the hell was wrong with me?
I don't know, Miss Katie, what's wrong with you? Keep telling us personal stories and maybe we'll all find out.
Blame the indoctrination, but don't blame yourself.
Do you blame yourself for your past, Miss Katie? You know what? I learned from my past, but I've outgrown my past, and it's who I am because of my past. Doesn't mean it's my future.
You can only get better from here and continue on in therapy, Christine. I can tell it's working.
I don't think you're very sincere. 'Cause you drug that one out.
So are you shocked to hear this? Are you not shocked? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.
Guys, look at there. Look at there. Her video is over 10 minutes, so she didn't have to repeat herself a lot, even though she did it anyways. No, Miss Kitey. No. No, ma'am. We don't have to do that over here. We get it the first time. We don't need a second and a third. You really do think your audience has no common sense, don't you? I do believe that. But alrighty, guys, I'm having a little bit of fun because I can't do much more. Because if you haven't heard, I took a tumble and did something to my foot. So I'm just doing videos and just having a little bit of fun sitting on my butt. So I hope you have a good day, night, weekend, holiday, year, whenever you might be watching this. And remember to smile today or make somebody else smile, because it really can make a difference. Get in a good mood. I hope you laughed with me, because you deserve to laugh today. You deserve to smile today. You deserve to have the best day possible. And you remember that. You want to know why? Because Janet told you to remember that. Now I'm the boss, okay? That's me telling y'all to be happy and just enjoy your day and have fun. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one.